Hi, this is, you're looking at Vivante Health, and they were a client of mine. I was a social media marketing manager there, reporting to the communications manager, Tanya Rodriguez. She and I were the marketing team. My responsibilities were primarily social media, content development for organic. There was some paid for a very actually narrow amount of things to get some UX testers um, and for some hiring. But for the majority of social media, actually, just completely organic. We did a landing page that was to try to attract the UX testers for our mobile app. Um, there was a lot of opportunity to do a lot of creative things. They hadn't had much for social media. I think that they'd essentially had somebody who was like an administrative assistant putting some stuff out, or possibly like an intern, but not really somebody that had experience prior in social media marketing until it was brought on. And so I'd like to showcase some of the things that I did there. And again, I'd like to start with results. Um, this was, a little over 2,000 monthly views from November, and then we really started adding Pinterest in, and then the following month we grown that to 13.6. So we had, what is that, 11 and a half thousand, almost exactly, views growth in about a month time. I don't have another, Sprout Social was the tool we're using to post and look at analytics, which you see here. And at the time, it wasn't connected to Sprout, or maybe you couldn't connect Pinterest to Sprout. This is over several months, almost 14,000% growth in engagements on posts, which is one of the main metrics I like to look at for success. Are the target audience engaging with our content? Do they like, do they comment, do they share? That's a good indication of whether or not you're hitting the right message with them. Otherwise, they won't engage. They don't care. Social is about giving attention. People will lend you some of their attention if you are talking about something that they are genuinely interested in, and they won't if they don't. Impressions is a leading indicator. You should have more impressions always than you have engagement. But the real meat and potatoes, in my opinion, is what's happening with your engagement rates. Are your engagements going up? If so, you're doing the right thing. And then the other is followers. So 771% increase in followers over several months, from August through December. Impressions is up by almost 900%. Again, impressions is a good indication, right? More impressions is better than less impressions, but that just means that it showed up in a news feed, and there's maybe some brand awareness. It's not the same thing as actually engaging with the content. Now I'm interested. Now I'm going to click. Now I'm going to click a link. Now I'm going to leave a comment. Now I'm going to share. That's a good success story, in my opinion. I think anybody over the course of about a half year or so would be thrilled with 700% gain and almost 1,400% gain in engagements. If that doesn't make you happy, then I'm curious what you are doing. There were some other things here that I guess that was kind of interesting. I helped with the FAQ section. This little thing here, this is also something that I did. They had a design like this that was just all white. And so I did the gradient with our two primary colors there, and then made it semi-transparent, some translucent, so you could see through it, and use that for branding identity as a visual aid on the social posts. And the social media banners, I did the banners for our social properties. This image here, actually, I didn't do the whole thing with the white over it, but this gal giving this guy a hug with this couple in the background was one of the main images that we used for the banner branding. So that was consistent across all of our social properties. So there were some other things that we did. We did some hiring posts, a client service manager, VP of clinical operations. I just showcased a couple of those. It's not earth shattering. We did some stuff with blogs too. This was interesting. So we had dietitians. We had essentially their personalized customer service kind of like a concierge service. They call them healthcare Sherpas. I didn't come up with that name. I don't really love that name. But when somebody would enter the program, they would get assigned this healthcare Sherpa to help coordinate between their doctor, their dietitian, their pharmacist, if they're seeing somebody for counseling, any of that kind of stuff. So what they did is it's all related to digestive health disorders, which affects tens of millions of Americans. It was actually an interesting case study in the sense of multiple target audiences and buyer personas. There was the buyers were B2B, HR benefit managers, or HRVP, or somebody else related to buying benefits and trying to make quality of life for their employees good, and also so that they don't miss work because of their digestive disorder conditions. So, which was a big deal, lost productivity. All dietitians, and we had a medical doctor who's also PhD who did research and then translated blog articles, into to regular person, non-technical, non-jargon speak, plain English. And then stories from the healthcare Sherpas that were made anonymous of interacting with people that actually got enrolled in the program. So at the time, there was no individual option. Like, you couldn't just download the app and sign yourself up and pay $35 a month or 50 or whatever they're going to price it at. I don't even think they wanted to do that. They wanted to just sell it to corporations and then potentially open it up to onboard thousands of employees. But we had people write articles from each of those things, and then I would help manage that and give them topics that we would like to see content for. So it was really content strategy and social media marketing content strategy, and then primarily executed through social media. There were landing pages for a couple of things developed, again, like the UX testers, and I also made a proposal for marketing for increasing lead generation as opposed to just brand awareness and trying to create demand generation, so that employees would say, "Hey, the HR, I'd love to have this." That was actually part of the initial thought process when I was hired, so wanted to make a suggestion about what we could do to take it to the next level. So these are some examples of blog posts, and I made the images for these, and we made them the featured image in WordPress. The site was built on WordPress, so that when we shared the link to social, it would populate with the title on the image, as opposed to if you wanted to reuse the blog or pull a snippet out of a blog, which is actually a great content tactic that I love. You should share the article when it first publishes with your article headline. But then there's probably a blog post has got, maybe 3 to 5 paragraphs, maybe 7. It depends on how long and in-depth it's going to get. Each of those paragraphs has probably got its own little subplot or sub-thoughts, kind of bullet points within it, or snippets or quotes that you can pull out and could be made to be its own highlight for a social post. It's a great strategy, especially if blog content is a continual, constant kind of a thing, and it was with Vivante. So you can reuse your blog content and highlight different facet of it for getting more mileage out of it engagement-wise. We also had dietitians that did some gut healthy recipes, and then we got some plain images of the recipes. Oftentimes, the dietitian would take a picture of their own food, and that would be the asset that we'd use for that. And then these are some examples of social posts. So we had some of these illustration kind of videos, and we had some videos of testimonials that were shared to social as well too. Digestive healthcare trouble can be one of your biggest healthcare expenses. That's factual, and that was part of the selling for the B2B audience. And then benefits for exercise to colitis. This is more towards the B2C audience. So we had split audiences and content. 70 million digestive diseases in the United States. Out of 300 and some odd million people, it's like 1 out of every 4 or 5, something like that. So chances are, in an organization with several thousand employees, you've got hundreds or possibly even thousands, depending on how many employees, that have issues with that. So this is one of the things that initially this leaf design, I took that and then made this gradient, and then sometimes it was fun just to put the other one on top of it. This was a summit that was in Greece. They had a development team in Greece, and then headquarters in the U.S. were in Houston. Average time to see a gastroenterologist specialist in the U.S. is 60 to 90 days. It's worse now in the age of COVID, I'm sure. Better gut health for everyone. This is just to showcase that we did some stuff specifically formatted for Instagram, and we use this, 1-to-1 ratio on Pinterest post as well. And then this was for Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. At the time that mattered. This is only a couple of years ago too, and in the last couple of years, the social media is constantly changing. At least the technology tools, the way that they're using. Human psychology and the way that people interact, that doesn't change. But the tool itself changes, and now Facebook and LinkedIn are dynamic. You can use square images in both. And actually I prefer that for those platforms now, because it takes up more space in the news feed, especially if you're scrolling on your phone, which the vast majority of people consume their social content on their phone. So this is just you have more opportunity to grab attention because you're just taking up more screen. But at the time, we really needed to have both. So did you know digestive health claims are often miscategorized as skin for the B2B audience? We did a whole series for the B2C audience about dreading going back to work, which is a real thing. The imagery is dark and depressing and sad, but also kind of like, hey, we get it. Find out more about GI Thrive. That was the app. So while the imagery is dark, and the message is also like, hey, there's hope to get out of this darkness for people that have that. Again, a healthcare one, healthcare costs that can't be measured, can't be reduced. First step to reining in is to really understand and get clear, accurate data. And so the sales guys would have an audit that they would do and show where those savings could be done as part of justifying the cost. And so this kind of content went out through social to try to get in front of those kind of decision makers. I found help through my employer's program that connected me with a health Sherpa as like a personal assistant, like customer service in a sense. A little bit more specialized than that. A lot of stuff related to food. Healthy food is great medicine, and that's, I guess, primarily B2C. We did a thing, it was No Filter Friday, and a blog post related to that about people talking about the digestive health issues, and that's so. The company the brand wasn't very sassy. This was a little bit. How the app worked, GI Mate, GI Thrive, reducing drug dependence, lowering your healthcare costs. This is B2B. This was a case study about somebody that had psoriasis, and before and after they got on the program, and help with the dietitian, help with the pharmacist and the doctor to work kind of comprehensively and holistically. Hidden cost of digestive disease is B2C. So again, on the food, all disease begins in the gut. Hippocrates, is attributed to saying this a couple thousand years ago. A different, same thing here, just formatted visually a little different. No Filter Friday. This was kind of like a Dear Abby. This was my idea. I'm like, hey, we have these stories from people talking with the health Sherpas. Can we make them anonymous and share them like a Dear Abby kind of thing? So we made this a Friday recurring content. See if we can get traction with that. And we did. This is formatted with the recipes. And then the care teams, so we got the health Sherpa, the dietitian, pharmacist, and life worker coach, right? That's the other thing there. 1 in 56 people in the U.S. have Crohn's disease, B2B. Employees missing work. Why does gut health matter to employers? I'm just kind of thinking back at the beginning. And then I have a couple of canvases for the memes. So just to get an idea, this is just visual development. Every single one of these images that you see here is, and that I've shown you that I've been scrolling through, all designed. I'm not primarily a graphic designer, but I do quite a bit of it for most clients with social media. This is just Instagram, a couple screenshots from the feed, so you can get an idea of what it would look like on the Instagram page. And also to showcase kind of some of the style, what my graphic design work is like. So again, I want to go back to the beginning with, I guess I want to show one other thing before I go back to in with the results. So thinking through some of the marketing funnel, and as we developed and went along, my focus changed from more kind of brand awareness and getting the word out to specifically trying to make the case to business decision makers. And there was some push by some internally, hey, we should need more of that. And I think that it made sense. If you want to see, you want to quantify your return on the investment of what you're spending on your social, getting leads and tracking that would be a great way to do that. So who we want to market to, right? So HR managers, benefit managers, the VP of HR, the CFO, and then brand awareness for the end users. But they're not going to be a purchase, but they're a stakeholder. Kind of like the Aflac campaign. So like that's if you have an Aflac campaign that's going out during the Super Bowl, there's only so many CFOs or VPs of HR or benefit managers that are watching. You're spending a lot of money to get in front of those few people, but it is great for a massive brand awareness to get in front of people that may influence those people because they're stakeholders and they have those. And that really worked for Aflac. Now, we weren't suggesting a Super Bowl ad, but the concept is similar, that you want to reach people that are in the B2C audience so that they can influence people as stakeholders, especially if they have those digestive conditions. So problems that we solve for a target audience, what makes us unique, and then how this kind of maps on the funnel, right? So discovery, consideration, conversion to buyers, and what kind of content would make sense here. So video, media ads, posts, some videos of people sharing their stories, some blogs for awareness, the goals for the stage, driving brand awareness to generate leads. Ultimately as a goal, it's not happening here, but it starts there. Middle of funnel, social media posts, case studies, white papers, right? And we had some of those, about people that, had gone, employers that had started with the program and what kind of savings that they had seen. That's great consideration phase. If I'm an HR benefit manager or VP of HR or one of these other decision makers that we're trying to reach, and I can look at a case study or a white paper, that's going to help me to make a buying decision for myself, as opposed to being sold. Some of the more technical blogs or blogs covering the cost, and then free analysis claims for a lead, where we would actually go through and take a look at their healthcare costs. And show them like, hey, based on our analysis, we think you could be saving this. So that's kind of like a webinar, kind of into, bottom of funnel, and then to visualize, through all these kind of things. So this is not super in depth, but this does help illustrate. I think a couple of things. I mean, what I was attempting to show, there's already some trust earned with senior leadership. So I reported to communications manager Tanya. She reported directly to the CEO. So we had the CEOs here, and he was happy with the work that I was doing, so that was good. So still to show, hey, if we really want to drive lead generation through marketing, this is what we need to do. This is how it'll work. So, and the other thing too, actually, I'm now remembering as I'm recording this, is that Tanya specifically said, you need to keep it short, otherwise, come on, it's not going to go through it. That was the CEO. So, The other thing I think that this demonstrates for anybody watching this is, my understanding of how the marketing funnel works. I actually like the marketing funnel as opposed to the flywheel, even though HubSpot, the flywheel is newer, simply because I can tell you exactly where the middle of the funnel is in a funnel, but I can't tell you where the middle of a circle is in a flywheel. That's maybe a topic for another discussion, and maybe even we'll do another video on that. So there's a lot of, and I didn't showcase everything, didn't showcase the landing page or some of the stuff that ended up in the brand book. We didn't end up with a finalized PDF copy. It was a working product, but we did define the brand archetype. We did define brand values and brand voice. And when I say we, I mean me and the communications manager, and I was a significant part of that. It was definitely very hands-on. It was not oh, my team did it and I'm attaching myself to it. Brand archetype, even diving into that discussion was my idea. So, not same with the voice. Tanya's very much a wordsmith, and voice was something she was keen on. But values and defining that and documenting all of that, and into the other things that go into a style guide, which is generally the brand visuals, brand identity stuff, like logo and color palette and font. I think also demonstrates brand expertise, brand knowledge that not every marketer, and certainly not every social media marketer has. And I think that the results for focusing on that kind of stuff, and the creativity with the different campaigns, they speak in the results here. Again, 1,400% increase in engagements over basically a half year, 700% gain in followers, 770. So thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful.